Continue with Donald Canestraro reading. This is going to be the interview of CS-8, he's known as. It's a one page, so it won't be long. In September of 2016, I interviewed a former FBI special agent whose identity is known to me. The agent herein is referred to as CS-8. CS-8 confirmed that Omar al-Bayoumi was under investigation by the FBI prior to the 9/11 attacks, part of a counterintelligence investigation. CS-8 stated that the FBI investigation noted that Omar al-Bayoumi was never employed while in San Diego. And a lot of people that knew Omar al-Bayoumi would say that he was a spy because he's a guy who always had his video camera, always recording, was never seen at work or going to work, always had money on hand. So they wondered about this guy for a long. I mean, he didn't hide the fact well that he was an intelligence asset. Let's put it that way. And it's almost like, look, some of the 9/11 muscle hijackers, even the pilot hijackers, made errors along the way. Like you could tell that these were radical fundamentalists, even though they looked the part of Western lifestyle. Not long hair, clean shaven, but it was their mannerisms. It's almost like they were telling you they were terrorists, like without telling you. And there's one story about Khalid al-Mihdhar in a when he was employed at Sam's Start Mart. He was telling people there, employees there, who are all Arabs, by the way, that something big is going to happen against the United States and to keep watch. And he said this during the summer of 2001. CS-8 added that he or she believed that Omar al-Bayoumi was affiliated with Saudi intelligence. CS-8 also recalled that an FBI investigation showed that Omar al-Bayoumi was associated with suspected al-Qaeda recruiter Anwar al-Awlaki. CS-8 told me that an FBI investigation conducted in San Diego showed that just prior to meeting al-Hazmi and al-Mihdhar, Omar al-Bayoumi met with Fahad al-Tameri at the Saudi consulate in Los Angeles, California. CS-8 described Fahad al-Tameri as a radical Muslim who was employed at the Saudi consulate. Now, that's true. As you all know now, that Omar al-Bayoumi was with an associate named Kaysan bin Dan. And that Kaysan bin Dan told the FBI that he was to be driven to the DMV by Omar al-Bayoumi, something about his license, whether to correct something or a mistake or to recertify his license. They stopped at the Saudi consulate and then they went to the Mediterranean Cafe afterwards, where they met al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi. So this is where Fahad al-Tameri is probably telling Omar al-Bayoumi about the meeting at the Mediterranean Cafe. CS-8 described Omar al-Bayoumi's employer Dal Avco as a corporation used as cutout. CS-8 explained that a cutout used by an intelligence agency to mask its direct involvement with an individual or group of individuals. And he was getting paid a ghost salary. In other words, he would barely show up to work as an employee, even though his name is with the company. He barely ever worked. So whoever got him that job, which, by the way, bin Laden was also involved with, knew about Omar al-Bayoumi not being a real employee, but to give him a legit job, but he doesn't have to show up. At least he gets money. Funding. For what? What do you think? For the operation. That's not proven yet, but Mike, come on, put two and two together, right? I'm not spewing some crack pottery here. If you're looking at a crime, you want to see sources of funding that help to facilitate this crime. CS-8 told me that FBI agents determined that Albayomi was in San Diego area to spy on local dissidents. CS-8 recalled that Omar Albayomi was later arrested in the United Kingdom on immigration charges, and the British officials found extremist literature in his apartment following his arrest. Now, that wasn't the British authorities are not to blame here. They found incriminating stuff, notebooks with airline designs in his apartment, but the FBI didn't tell the public or classified this material with State Department help because it pointed back to the Saudis financing this operation. Didn't mean they were the only ones, just saying here. And this didn't come out to win. This year, last year. Why did they classify for 20 years? What do you think? The United States is protecting their interest. Their interest is Saudi Arabia and Israel. In this case, it's Saudi Arabia. CS-8 stated that no charges were ever filed with Omar al-Bayoumi. CS-8 recalled that there was diplomatic pressure exerted on the FBI not to investigate the Saudi government's connection to the 9/11 attacks. There you go. I'm not telling you anything new, but again, the United States is at fault. They don't care, right? CS-8 said that following the 9/11 attacks, the FBI requested bank records to Prince Haifa and Prince Bandar via federal grand jury subpoena. And that's because Prince Bandar and Prince Haifa, they had their husband and wife, they had an account through Riggs Bank. And that Riggs Bank has some nefarious ties to very shadowy individuals. Nevertheless, Prince Bandar was giving money to Princess Haifa. Prince Haifa would give money to a woman named Mawida Dewejak, who, by the way, happens to be the wife of Osama Basnan. She would give the money to Osama Basnan, and he would give it to Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. I'm not making stuff up. This is now recorded history. Records were CS-8 stated that officials have awarded the FBI's efforts to obtain the records for a year. Imagine that. The records were eventually released and examined by a task force of FBI agents at FBI headquarters. CS-8 stated that these records are most likely maintained by the FBI at their headquarters in Washington, D.C. CS-8 stated that he or she believed that Riggs Bank was responding to political pressure to deny the FBI to access these records. And when the FBI accessed the records, State Department pressured them too. CS-8 stated that the presence of Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar in the United States and their association with the Malaysia meeting was not communicated to anyone in the San Diego field office prior to 9/11 attacks. That's because the handler of an FBI informant, Abdul Sheikh, his name was Steve O'Brien. I think it's Steve O'Brien. Yeah, Steve O'Brien. I think so. I think I'm not sure now. I'm not too sure. Is Steve O'Brien? Yeah, one of them. Anyway, he was not told about Khalid al-Mihdhar Hazmi by Abdul Sheikh, who only told him their surnames. Wasn't until after 9/11 attacks found that was Khalid al-Mihdhar Hazmi, who was right with the informant, who was an informant for the FBI for over 20-something years. Did the informant know? Now we know he did. Through the Fall of the Bulldogs article, in which me and Darren were reading, please go watch that video. We always thought Abdul Sheikh didn't know, but he most likely knew. That's why he didn't tell O'Brien about al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi. CS-8 recalled that the officer was supposed to be assigned to the San Diego office to further information sharing between the FBI and the CIA. However, CS-8 later learned that the officer was actually examining FBI files, an attempt to blame the FBI for the intelligence failure that led to 9/11 because it was a setup. You have somebody from the CIA running this illegal operation with Saudi intelligence and monitoring Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf Bahadmi. Didn't want the FBI to know. Wanted to know what the FBI knew about these men, if anything at all. Kept catfishing them. And then they sent a case officer to examine FBI files to help set up the FBI about the 9/11 attacks being a success, saying it was their fault. But we all know that that's not the case. It was the CIA and NSA and probably Saudi Arabia and Israel who probably knew more information and didn't share it with the United States. So everyone's covering up for each other. No one wants to be held responsible. And that's the problem here. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day. And I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Take care.